Hey everyone, we're on today with Bekah Stelling, the owner of Bekah Cates. And hey Bekah, how are you?
Hi, Michael.
How's it going today?
Going.
Uh, okay, good, good. It's really great to see you. Happy New Year.
Did
I know 2020 was pretty horrendous for most people, business owners, non-business owners, everybody.
yeah.
Hopefully on and upward in 2021, it's going to be great for everybody. But I really appreciate you taking the time. I just wanted to kind of open this up with just maybe just a 30-second of tell us who you are and how you got started, in the houseware industry and to become an owner of Bekah Cates.
Okay. I don't know if I can do it in 30 seconds, but I'll try.
Take as much time as you want.
No, that's okay. I don't take much time. After I graduated from college, I was looking for just something part-time while I waited to get into grad school, and I'd never worked retail a day in my life. But business ownership is entrepreneurship is historically a big thing in my family, going way, way back. So after I'd been at the job for a little while, I got bored doing just the everyday regular stuff. And so they started giving me job after job after job in the back. And eventually I was buying and managing and within a year. And so then I felt like my little town could use something like this. And we wanted to come back home. And so I was there for about 4 years, and then we came to Baraboo and opened a kitchen store.
Nice,
And
nice. What was it about the houseware industry that you loved? I mean, what was why that industry?
I've always loved to cook. My grandmother and my mother are fabulous home cooks, and I grew up eating everything homemade. So
Yeah,
that
nice.
that appealed to me. I mean, even as a high school kid and college kid, when I went shopping, I went to a housewares store, not a clothing store.
Right. Yeah, I know. Every time I go to a houseware show, my wife is just like, make sure you bring back
Samples.
everything you can. Yeah. I brought back knife sharpeners, you name it. So,
Yep.
um,
I
what
did
would you, go
wear.
ahead, sorry.
That's always a highlight of our year, and
Yeah.
I was very sad. So
Yeah. Um, what would you say, from a business owner's perspective in your industry? What would you say that, I mean, the biggest challenges right now of overcoming, the COVID situation that the country's in right now, from a business owner's perspective? I mean, I understand that business is down. You may not get as many people in your store, but like, in the store, and like, what have you done to overcome some of those
yeah,
challenges to make people feel not, freaked out about going anywhere or coming into your store, things like that?
we from the get-go, we didn't have to close down because we were considered essential. We have enough food, wine, and housewares. We're able to stay open, albeit very sparsely. We mostly did curbside in the beginning. For those first couple months, we did curbside. We did Facebook live shopping events. I know you watched some of those, Michael, and we're well
Yeah.
by my antics. my
I'm always liking them.
antics. Learned a lot. I mean, that's one of the biggest things with business is that you have to have a love of learning, because you're always learning stuff. I mean, today, Michael, you're learning.
I'm learning how to do StreamYard video conferencing.
Yeah,
How
so
about that?
it's not for the part. It's not for people that are afraid to rise to a challenge. And this year definitely is going to be a litmus test for a lot of businesses. If you were not able to rise to the challenges, whether it's just the challenges within your store and making people feel comfortable, and making all the changes that needed to be done with hand sanitizers and plexiglass
Yeah.
and no touch credit card processing, and all of those little things that added up to make your customers more comfortable coming into your store. There was all of the, and that was totally new to me, all of the needing to needing to ask for money, from the government,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
applying for all of those things. That was a totally new thing for me. I have been lucky enough to not have to need any of that stuff for the last 16 years since we opened. And
Yeah.
we went after every cent we could get to keep us afloat and to pay our employees. And it made all the difference. So
That's great. How many full-time people do you have working there?
I just have 2 full-time. I have 2 managers, and then everybody else is part-time. And I have the 2 businesses, so I have employees
Yeah.
that some do both, and some do one or the other. So
Gotcha. All right, cool. So now for the most important question. What would you say in 30 seconds, but you can definitely expand into 10 or 15 minutes if you want to talk about your experience with chosen payments. How does that tee up for you? Like what has been your overall experience? And we've been working together, you and I, for years, like 6 years maybe.
a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just always sticks in my head that the day that I think it was, I don't know if it was Black Friday or the day before. I think it was Black Friday morning. I had a
Yeah.
credit thing early on, and I called you, and you were literally like greeting your in-laws at the door and talking to me on the phone and
Right.
how to get my credit card processing back up and running. And that dedication, it definitely increased my loyalty, because you were just really looking out for me and did everything you could do for me. And the company's always done that. You've always done that for me when I have a question, because there's just a lot of things that come through that I don't
Sure
that this charge is legit or whatever. You guys have always come through explaining things to me. And with this COVID, and getting the touchless credit card, you were really on the ball, getting that to me as quickly as we could, trying to do whatever I needed. So
yeah, great. I think that's a huge thing in our industry, with all things being equal as far as cost go. Like people on my side of this, like we all have the same cost as far as rates and credit card processing, and we all share that same cost on our end. So with all things being equal, I think it really comes down to level of service that you get. And and I've sort of really modeled my book of business. Like I just try to give everybody that as chosen payments, that service. And what happens is it allows us to retain you for 6, 7 years, 10 years. So that's great. You're definitely one of my favorites to work with, for sure. Okay, couple more things here, then we'll wrap this up. But what do you see in the future here? I know it's a loaded question, but as far as like the houseware industry, or your store specifically, like, are there any things on the horizon that you feel that is going to be on your radar or anything like that for the future? What's the future hold for you?
I'm glad to have a future after this year.
I know.
I feel we're in a good place. I have great support networks in place, and with all of my vendor partners, and I think we'll be well positioned for more growth. I want to grow my other side of my business as well, and who knows, maybe when my kiddos are older, maybe we'll have a second location or something like that. I've been at many times. I just can't really get my head around it quite yet. I still have my last kiddo at home for about 8 more years, so you're gonna have to stick.
I promise I will. Do you have any advice for your peers, people in your position, business owners, whether they're in the houseware industry or just entrepreneur, business owner, or whatever? What's something that you've taken with you through these years that you'd like to pass on?
Well, like I said before, just education. I mean, I take classes at our UW, business classes. Sometimes I take the same class twice because things change. Facebook changes all the time. All the social media stuff changes. I've taken a finance class twice because I was on a retail side one side and a manufacturing side on the other one, and you have to look at things differently. So I guess my biggest thing is just be open to education and change, and have a growth mindset.
Yeah. I feel the same. You have to be coachable.
Yes.
You know, can't have an ego that you know everything, you know, because we can always learn something. So
Yeah. That I feel like I'm an expert on sometimes. I love to learn new things.
yeah. Yeah. Funny story real quick. That just reminds me of something like you can learn something from everybody. There's a homeless guy that is you know, kind of goes around our neighborhood, and one fall he asked me if, you know, if he could do some yard work for me or bag some leaves. And I was like, yeah, sure. And this guy like has nothing. He doesn't even have a place to live. He he showed me the most efficient way to put leaves in plastic bags that I still use to this day. And I
Hey,
always think
you
like,
remember him every time you put your leaves in a bag.
I absolutely do. And I give him credit. And I'm just like, that just proves that like, it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, you can learn something from anybody
Yep.
out there. So,
And
all
personal
right.
are
Yeah.
really important. So I appreciate your great customer service.
Yeah. Great. All right, Bekah. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's the end of that. That wasn't too bad. Virtual high five. Boom. All right.
All
Okay.
right.
As always, call me for anything.
Okay.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Good.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Okay. All
Take care.
right.